Good afternoon, everybody. What a great crowd. I saw a few cowboy hats, so I knew I was in West Texas. We had to have all of you here. We're thrilled to welcome the governor back to the Permian Basin, what we like to call the land out of the high sky, and where the sky is the limit. It's a land of purpose, a land of promise. It's a place of unlimited opportunity for all who dream big, work hard, and never give up. I like to call the people of West Texas people with a compassionate heart and a rocket engine. I know firsthand this because the promise of the Permian brought me here 50 years ago. Since then, I've witnessed an extraordinary transformation in the oil and gas industry that has propelled Texas to become a driver for the Texas economy, natural resource for the United States, and indeed the world. I like to call it the largest secure supply of energy in the world, which it is. But it is the people of West Texas that make it truly special. Our people represent an innovative and entrepreneurial and optimistic, positive spirit that defines the state of Texas. The Permian Strategic Partnership exists to harness the promise of the Permian for the people of West Texas today and for generations to come. The governor said a number of years ago when he came out here and saw the promises, you got to go out to West Texas and build cities. And that's what we're doing. Since 2019, PSP has looked to the horizon to improve the quality of life for all who live and work across these four critical areas of education, healthcare, workforce, and infrastructures, which of course is safer roads for everybody. Together, we are building a foundation for enduring success, one that ensures every child, every family, every worker in West Texas can thrive. And nothing we have accomplished for the people of West Texas would have been possible without the support, the statesmanship, the leadership of our great Governor, Greg Abbott. That includes projects like the Beacon, a visionary new development that will extend, and not only extend, will transform healthcare all across the Permian Basin. The Beacon represents a defining moment for the future of the Permian Basin and for the prosperity of workers and families who are the backbone of what is possible in West Texas. Governor, you've been a friend of PSP and to me personally for many years. We are grateful for your strong support for your Permian Basin and for the oil and gas industry out here, but for your vision of Texas for tomorrow. Because of your amazing leadership and your statesmanship, along with the collaboration of member companies and our state and local officials, the promise of Permian shines as a brighter future for all who call West Texas home. We're thrilled that you're here. We're thrilled you come back to the Permian Basin, the land of the high sky. Thank you, Mr. Governor, very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you all, and thank you, Don, for what you said. Thank you for your friendship. As you know, we've been friends for more years than we can count.
Exactly.
I thank you for your friendship, but also thank you for your leadership. I'm sure you know, but you don't know enough, how present Don Evans was in the legislature, in the Capitol. I couldn't go out my door without seeing Don Evans. He was there to see me. He was there to see my chief of staff. He was there to see your members, whatever the case may be. He was a salesman on call every single day, it seemed like, in the Texas Capitol. He had a mission, and that is to get across the finish line some of the things we're going to be talking about today. But as you know, it's not like his first rodeo. He's been doing this for a long time. He's brought map after map after map to me and laid it out on a conference table, showing me what the future vision of Midland looks like. And as you pointed out, today is a defining moment for the Permian Basin, for the future of this region, as well as for the future of Texas. So the past in the Permian Basin is full of the richest history we have in the state of Texas. But we are on the threshold of the biggest promising future this region has ever seen. In part because of what Don has worked on, Dan and so many other people here, but also because of the daily tireless work by your representatives right up here who got to it and got these pieces of legislation done into my desk, and it makes a very big difference. So today is a big day for the Permian Basin. But let me put that in some type of context. The reality that you know, but importantly for you to know, the reality that we know in Austin, Texas, and that is the Permian Basin is the lifeblood of Texas. It's the lifeblood that quite literally powers our engines, but equally literally that powers our economy. And because of that pinnacle role, it's very important that the state respond to the challenges that you deal with, to issues that are important to you, as well as to respond in ways that craft a future that's going to be brighter not just for you, but for your kids and your grandkids and for other people who may be moving here in the future. And in that regard, you all are fortunate to have representatives who deliver on solutions to the problems you face. So give it up for Speaker Craddock, Senator Sparks, and Representative Landgraf and Representative Darby for everything they have done to get things across the finish line. I'll give you one example that y'all know a lot about and we've learned a lot about. Many of y'all have complained about oilfield theft, and for a good reason. It's on the rise and it's very costly. Your senator and representatives got 3 laws to my desk to fix that. The first is House Bill 48 by Representative Darby and sponsored by Senator Sparks. It establishes an oilfield theft prevention unit to be located in the Texas Department of Public Safety. The second is Senate Bill 498 by Senator Sparks, sponsored in the House by Representative Landgraf. It establishes the Theft of Petroleum Products Task Force. And the third is Senate Bill 1806 by Senator Sparks and sponsored in the House by Chairman Craddock, and it authorizes local law enforcement to confiscate petroleum products that are alleged to have been stolen. It creates a program to inspect oil and gas tankers for possible theft, and it increases criminal penalties for theft of petroleum products in Texas. Bottom line, they're bringing the full weight of the law to crack down on oil theft in the Permian Basin. Once again, give it up for Senator Sparks, Representative Craddock, Darby, and Landgraf for cracking down on oil theft here in Texas. So that is all talk, and now it's about to become law. That's a fifth, right?
It is. The crackdown on oil theft in Texas is now law. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. So another thing that's very important to the future of Midland, very important to the future of the Permian Basin, something that Don and so many others, I'm looking across the room, a lot of y'all talk to me about this very issue, and that is y'all want to see the region experience more economic development, to see the economy grow. And having been the governor of the state, that's ranked #1 in the United States for economic development. Not once, not twice, but actually 13 years in a row. Texas has been the national champion for economic development. I've had the opportunity to see what works and what doesn't work, what the demands are by those who want to be on the development side of economic development, but also the items that are going to attract people here that are going to be the byproduct of economic development. And some of the elements that are essential to be able to achieve that are more hotels and convention centers. Just one easy example that doesn't relate to Midland at all, but relates to what we saw happen in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas has been a magnet for both economic development, but also for tourism. But they were hindered for many years because they were limited in the size of their convention center. And as a result, they lost convention after convention after convention after convention to other cities across the United States because the convention center was not accommodative of what was needed. Same thing might be said for the Midland area. Y'all could be hosting all kinds of conventions and more conventions and be a greater attraction for all kinds of economic development if you have more hotel space and a bigger, better convention center. And that is exactly what Senator Sparks and Chair Craddock went to work on. I'm going to sign Senate Bill 529 by Senator Sparks and supported in the House by Chair Craddock that will help Midland to boost hotel and convention projects and to attract more tourists and businesses to your great city. Senate Bill 529, the economic development magnet, is now law in the state of Texas.
All right.
I got one last thing to sign. Let me give you some explanation about it. So many of y'all are familiar with the concept of a budget, a state budget. The state budget is massive. It's in size and in pages. I don't even know how many pages it has. It's longer than War and Peace. Has a whole lot to it. And the power of the governor has several options. The governor can sign that budget bill, can veto that budget bill, or alternatively has the ability to line item veto one of the items in there and say, I'm not going to allow funding for this project. And what I'm going to do today is the opposite of that. I'm going to line item sign a component of the budget that funded a project that's near and dear to your heart. I have right here, I'm going to show it to you. This is you can't see it from where you are. If you can, you're a hawk. This is the verbiage of what the funding does that's contained in here. And in fact, on this line right here is the amount of funding. I'm not going to read this to you. You'd fall asleep just in that short period of time. But I'm funding an item. I'm signing funding for an item that funds an historic $123 million investment in the Beacon project. Y'all know the details of this. I understand that they recite all the details in school and kids are required to recite it in class every day. But I'll just add this. It's going to transform the entire Permian Basin region for decades, if not a century. It's going to attract new visitors and new residents. It's going to encourage more people to call Midland and the Permian Basin home. It's going to provide substantial economic growth for decades in the future for the region. In addition to thanking these members for getting this done, the perpetual work of Don Evans to make sure it got to the finish line, I also want to thank other participants in this. And if you're in the room, I want you to wave a hand so everyone will get to see you. but I thank the Texas Tech and University of Texas systems for being a part of this very important Beacon project. Are y'all here? They're not here today. I'll tell you why. Last night I signed the NIL bill, and they're busy recruiting athletes right now. But I do want to thank not just the leaders at this table, and more than just Don. This was an all-in effort by everybody in this room and people not in this room. This was a project that meant so much to the people of this entire region. You planted a flag and said, we need this for the future of this region. And because of your all-in position on this, it made the difference. Got it across the finish line. For a couple of people in the room, I know that there was a day or two of uncertainty and hand-wringing. There was never any doubt. You have no idea how many other projects were a whole lot closer than that. But I'm proud I'm going to take this and line item sign and approve this $123 million project. That one's for you. $123 million is coming your way. So next to speak is Chairman Craddock.
Thank you. Governor, we're elated to have you in Midland and West Texas. And I'm glad you were so confident on that amount. If I'd have talked to you, I'd probably got more sleep during that trip. But we were glad, and thank you for all the help you gave, and the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker, but you and the Lieutenant Governor both. You all were there and from the very start when we first showed you all the concept. And we appreciate that very much.
You got it.
And the oil field theft is something that desperately needed to be done, and I guess you needed to do what you needed to do, and that was to push. And your office did a great job on all of these things. And I'll tell you this, the Beacon deal has been a dream of a lot of people. Our community put $100 million in the last couple of years to build the first mental health facility, and now we have 200 beds out there. And that's pretty tough for a community like us. And Don's group and a lot of people in this room contributed and helped raise it. And we want to say thank you for that. This is going to be part of it. And it's just going to change West Texas. And as you probably already know, we've got a couple of new facilities coming with it, MD Anderson and Texas Children's. And I think just those alone, think about instead of having to go from the Permian Basin all the way to Houston, if you can just stay at home and be treated, that's a big part of it to me. And so to me, they're all important, but that's huge. And the two hotels, one is, of course, for downtown, for the hotel where the Civic Center is. They're going to expand it. And then the other is out where we're building this medical facility. And I appreciate it. I know, a lot of them didn't get passed at the end, but we're glad ours did. And very thankful for your office and for you personally, because you did a lot for us. In fact, we'd be glad to have you part of our delegation.
An honorary member.
Right, yeah. Kind of like Don, we don't pay, but we're glad to shake your hand and visit with you. But anyway, thank you again, and thanks for coming here today. It's a big deal for us, and it's a big deal for our community. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now Senator Sparks.
Yeah, I too want to thank you for making the trip out here. We're really honored to have you in West Texas, and we're just thankful that you understand how valuable West Texas is to the entire state of Texas. One of the things that's a challenge is helping the rest of our legislators understand how much in what we do across not just the Permian Basin, but all of District 31 up through Lubbock and the whole Panhandle when you add agriculture into what we do. And there's just not many of them because they've all grown up in the city. They don't really understand what we do very well and the culture and why it's necessary to continue to fund projects like the Convention Center. Dan Horde, appreciate your help on that. And how difficult a challenge it is to attract good workers, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in the oil and gas industry, and all of the other service industries. It's a challenge, and so thank you for your investment in making sure that the rest of Texas understands how critical our area is to the overall good of the full state of Texas. I'd also like to say my staff, a number of my staff made the trip out here from Austin. If you'd raise your hand. Yeah, these are some of the folks that worked hard. On not just oilfield theft bills, but a lot of other things for District 31 and really the overall health of Texas. I'd like to thank Commissioner Craddock and the work that she did in helping us design some of the oilfield theft stuff. I appreciate the law enforcement that's here today. I know I saw Sheriff Kreiner here earlier. I know there's a number of others. And even the security folks that are working with our oil companies right now. And PBPA, I saw PBPA was here as well. Ben Shepard and Mike Lanzano. Because it was a full effort in figuring out what are the things that we need in order to give our law enforcement and our Railroad Commission the tools that they need to help improve oilfield theft. And so with that, there's a lot of other folks that we could thank. I appreciate Representative Landgraf and Speaker Craddock and Representative Darby as well, because it literally is a team effort. I mean, it looks more like a rugby session sometimes, but couldn't do it without everybody's input. So thank you very much.
You got it. And now Representative Landgraf.
Well, Governor, thank you again for being back here in the Permian Basin. You're always welcome here. Like Speaker Craddock said, we consider you to be one of our own, and we appreciate that you recognize the contributions that the Permian Basin, the oil and gas industry make to the state of Texas and the people of Texas. And we're very proud of the role that we play as the energy producing epicenter of the free world. Mm-hmm. And we know that allows the state of Texas to derive so many benefits. But for you to, for the last decade that you've been in office, to recognize that, to celebrate that, and support us as we do everything that we can to keep the Texas miracle going. We really do appreciate it. The fact that you're signing these bills that are very critical to make sure that we have a sustained industry, that we crack down on oilfield theft is incredibly important to us. And also the fact that you're allowing us to invest in ourselves with some of these precious state resources so that we're not just a good place to work and a good place to start a business, but this can also be a good place to live and a good place to raise a family. And that's very important to us. And the fact that you're here celebrating that with us is something that we appreciate very much. So I'm proud to be part of Team West Texas, Team Permian Basin. We're thrilled with so many of the great victories that we've scored, not only for our constituents here in the Permian Basin this session, but for all the people of Texas. And Governor, your leadership really led the way, along with Speaker Burrows, Lieutenant Governor Patrick as well. But it all starts at the top, and we really do appreciate your vision for the state. Thank you for being here. I know we have some other announcements that are going to be forthcoming, but this is a great start, and there's more where this came from.
Exactly. Well, thanks for that. One last thing, when you were talking about the future of the Permian Basin, and you listed, among other things, being a good place to live and to raise a family, it brought to mind what I did yesterday. Actually, it brought to mind what I've heard from you and others for the past few years. So Don and others have been in my ear for quite some time about needing to do more for education in the schools here. And in case you missed it yesterday, I signed the largest school funding bill in the history of the state of Texas, $8.5 billion of funding for our schools across the state of Texas. Importantly, about half of that funding is for teacher pay raises. Maybe the most important component of making sure that children are going to get a good education is to have good teachers in the classroom. And an aspect about that, actually, a study was done about why is it that some teachers were leaving the profession. And there were two reasons that were far and above all the others. One was pay, but the other was classroom disorder. And so in addition to the bill I signed yesterday, which is one that provided that funding, I will be signing another one that enhances discipline in the classroom, so teachers are going to be able to better maintain order in the classrooms. Bottom line is we look forward to a future where it's going to be a lot easier to attract and keep the best teachers into your classrooms across the Permian Basin area. With that, we'll take a few questions. Or not. Go ahead.
So what measurable changes should Texans expect to see over the next year as a result of this legislation?
Of all these?
Of all of them, yes.
So one of the most measurable, you're going to see in front of your eyes in slow motion economic development in action, in part because of the large funding, but also because of the law enforcement tools that go into place there. It restores order and creates order in your community. And whether it be the hospitals that are going in, the health care that's going to be provided, the better schools you're going to have, it's really going to boost the entire region. And hopefully soon you'll have hotels that are construction, hotels will be filled, convention centers will be filled, and there'll be a bustling community. And so, we talk about hotels and convention centers, but think of everything that goes along with that. You'll have restaurants, coffee shops, some other things that will go along with it. So you'll see a very vibrant community as well as a very livable community. As great as your communities already are, I think the best is yet to come. All right. Well, listen, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. But to put a punctuation point on something that Don and I said to each other when I first came in, we would not be at this table today had it not been for every one of you and your friends, your compatriots in this area advocating for what was needed in the Permian Basin area. And your representatives delivered for you and for the future of the Permian Basin. Thank you all. God bless you all. And God bless the great state of Texas.